When you have a group of people that generationally has been raised that they have to be the best of the best, that they have to be 5, 10 times better than their counterparts in order to get anything in life, in order to achieve success, in order to achieve, the dream of owning a home and building wealth, you have to be 5 to 10 times stronger, 5 to 10 times better, 5 to 10 times smarter than your counterpart. That group of people, generation after generation, starts having problems with admitting fault. They start having problems with being human and saying, I made a mistake. Because to say that you made a mistake with that type of generational pressure sitting on your shoulders, that make no mistake, that was implemented there, those thoughts and that mindset, it came from trauma. So it was implemented. But when you have parents that do not realize the impact generations later on that mindset, you end up with a group of people that find it extremely difficult to hold themselves accountable for mistakes. And that's where we come into episode 4. Because a lot of things that we feel we don't talk about, it's unsaid. That's another cultural thing. We don't tell our business. We ain't out in the streets telling our business, right? It's difficult for us to do that because of mistrust. Not only mistrust from outsiders, but we mistrust each other. And that's something else that was conditioned. That's something else that was indoctrinated. And that's something else that we created. And that's the part of the conversation that we don't want to talk about. Across the African diaspora, from the mainland continent to the Caribbean, to the United States, there has been a specific pattern. Every time we start a movement towards unity across the diaspora, a movement about self-empowerment, every time we have started a movement, a positive movement to end divisiveness and to move towards unity, it not only was targeted, it was exploited, it was miscommunicated, and in many times, it was exposed, and most importantly, it was infiltrated. And that's the conversation that we don't want to have because it's uncomfortable to hold ourselves accountable. It's uncomfortable to say that we made a mistake. Well, newsflash, a system, a program, a unit cannot be infiltrated unless there's cracks in the unit. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The cracks in the unit and how a system used our own people against us to infiltrate every single movement that we created towards liberation, towards unity, and towards self-empowerment. My name is Angie Pryor. This is episode 4 of Pain to Power, and we're going to talk about pay to betray and how every Black movement was infiltrated. Let's go.
Pain to power, the great deconstruction. Pain to power, the great deconstruction. Yeah, pain to power, the great deconstruction. Pain to power, the great deconstruction.
This is not a message that's rooted in blame or a finger pointing game. This is a message that's rooted in awareness. Because if we are not aware of the collective patterns that we participate in as a community, as a diaspora, then we will continue to repeat those patterns over and over and over again and will never evolve as a people. We'll have one off individuals that evolve, but we will never evolve as a people by not bringing awareness to these patterns that have been harmful to the entire diaspora, every single community. Now, I said before that they have, past tense, infiltrated every movement. They are still currently doing it. Look at the history. Look at the history. When we look at the history of colonial Africa, we have this mindset that Europeans bum rushed the shores of Africa with weapons and just dominated and took over us. But we should know better than that, common sense wise. Look at us. Look at our build. Look at our athleticism. No, these people showed up on the shores and manipulated. They showed up on the shores and bribed, talking with two faces for power, pretending to want to trade, pretending to want to be friends, and ended up creating fractures within the leadership of multiple tribes and what we now call countries. That's how they infiltrated, by manipulating, bribing, lying to leadership. And those decisions that were made by leaders would create detriment for generations to come. Look at the transatlantic slave trade. Same thing. There were systems put in place on the plantations to cause divisiveness, to pit us against each other. We all know it was some of us that worked in the house, didn't have to be out in the sun. It was some of us that were made to fight each other for entertainment of massa. Some of us were put in charge of the others and had to whip and beat them in front of the others. There were certain systems that were put in place during slavery to ensure divisiveness, right? These things were in historical context, but it's still happening now. Look at current day. Look at the current day right now. Marcus Garvey built one of the most powerful movements for Black unity in the history of the world. It was so intimidating, the FBI got involved. The government got involved. It was so intimidating, the army that he built, and it was global. It was a global Black unity movement. But even he was infiltrated by his own generals. Mistrust, undercutting for more power, sown division. The civil rights movement and the rise of the Black Panther Party, infiltrated by our own people. FBI agents undercover as Black Panther Party members, pretending to be about the movement, pretending to be friends, to where the police kick in the door on some of the main party members while they're sleeping and murder them in their sleep because of the help of people that look just like them, bringing back intel on their own people. When we stop pretending like these are just one-off situations and start telling the truth about this being a pattern across history with every single Black movement, we will start to evolve. We will start to evolve. Even those of us that really know history and tap into our culture, we still end up asking the same damn question. Why does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening? Well, it's very simple. Number one, people continue to choose proximity. People continue to choose their own individual gain. People continue to choose to worry about themselves and not themselves and the culture and their ancestors' legacy. That's why. That's why. Where does that come from? Generational trauma. unhealed generational trauma, one dimensional thinking. See, I used to be one of those angry black folks that would just get mad and start calling people Sambos, start calling people sellouts. But when you think about it, where does that really get us? Are they Sambos? Yeah, probably. Are they putting the entire diaspora, their entire community, and possibly their family in danger? Yeah, with that mindset. With that mindset and the decisions that they're making? Yeah. But for me, it's deeper than that. It's the psychology behind the Sambo. These are people that not only believe that they can't win in their full blackness and all of their culture, that they can't win. And so instead of believing in themselves, they'll take money, they'll take power, they'll take status, even if it harms their own people. These are people that do not believe that they can win in their blackness. And quite simply put, people that don't believe that they can win in their blackness are never going to believe that their entire community can win. They're never going to believe that the diaspora can win. These are people that are broken, that are unhealed, and refuse to look at the evolution of us. We have more knowledge now than we've ever had before. We've had more technology now than ever. It's easier now for us to reach across the diaspora and connect and build together than it's ever been. And we are dropping the ball. We are dropping the ball because we have embraced not being able to win. We have embraced that it is not possible. We have embraced a whole nother people's culture. We cannot win that way. We cannot evolve as people that way. When we look at what this looks like right now, current day, these FBI agents that pretended to be friends infiltrated the Black Panther Party. What does that look like right now? Well, let's start with the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry is one of the most powerful currencies in the world. And we got people out of our own community that we can focus on, that we can uplift, and we do. We uplift them, faults and all. But we have so many of them that came from communities that had liquor stores on every corner, that came from communities, some of them, if they're old enough, that was right in the middle of the crack epidemic and saw what drugs did. They came from communities with a high percentage of HIV and AIDS and teenagers because of hypersexuality. And what did they do? Many of them, they promoted it. They promoted those behaviors of hypersexuality. They promoted drug use. They promoted drinking. They promoted frivolous spending for money, for profit, for individual gain. Again, coming from the same neighborhoods where they saw the impact of that mindset. They saw the impact of individual thinking. We're talking about coming from communities that are already lacking in resources that they seen firsthand because they grew up in it. And they still signed contracts to promote that mindset, to promote those behaviors. And some of them even put their names on the liquor bottles, knowing the impact. So at some point in time, we have to ask, is it just influence? Because that's the first thing they'll say. I'm not a role model, I understand I have influence, but I just have influence, but I'm not a role model. But really, you do. Is this just influence or is it participation to uphold a system that has been clear in pattern historically to harm your own people? That's what we need to start saying. And we need to say it out loud with our actions. We need to say it out loud verbally, speaking on it. It is beyond influence at this point. It is participation in upholding a system. When these very people that we believe in align with narratives, align with generalizations, align with political views that are a direct harmful impact on people that look just like them. So when you see our so-called celebrities, we call them heroes in our community that have reached a certain pinnacle of success. When we see them aligning with certain political views and generalizations and narratives, what do you think businesses are going to do? Businesses that have millions of dollars for marketing, they're going to play right into it, right? And that's why you can walk into a gas station in a predominantly black and brown neighborhood and find those little fake bottles of liquor everywhere. You'll see some wine too, but the little fake bottles of liquor now that are popular, that you can buy pints of, that are 80 proof, 70% proof. But when you go down across the tracks to the suburbs and you walk in those gas stations, you may see wine in there, a whole selection of wine. But what you're not going to see is little ball shots, right? The 70 and 80 proof fake vodka, fake, Cavassier. You're not going to see that in those gas stations. So the businesses, they're going to follow the lead of the so-called leaders of our community. The leaders in our community putting their names on damn liquor bottles. So we're going to promote it right here, because who is our dynamic that buys from our store? Black and brown folks. This is what I'm talking about. So we went from influencing to participating. Influencing to participating in our demise, participating in keeping virtual shackles on us. Shackles of our mind, our mindsets, our emotions. It's continuous trauma. We are upholding generational trauma within the community. When we look at what it looks like today, and I've talked about this on other episodes, but I'm going to keep talking about it until more people start talking about it, and when more of us start moving differently about it. One of the most powerful tools today to infiltrate every part of every Black community is social media. The power that we have to flip open that laptop and turn on the camera of our phone is wild. Social media is an unregulated mob of unhealed trauma. Trauma with power. So much power. And what does the system of social media itself reward? What does it reward? Because it damn sure is not unity. It's damn sure not healing. It's not liberation. It's not self-worth. It's not self-value. What does it reward? It rewards engagement, period. Engagement, period. Let's see. What are the viral topics for engagement? What really gets everybody going? Well, what gets everybody going in real life? Who is always the butt of the rage bait in this society, in Western society? Who has always been the butt of rage bait? Black folks. Black folks. Black trauma. Black trauma. Exploiting it, amplifying it, creating it are viral moments. And who makes it go viral? I'll wait. We make it go viral because we have tapped out of culture and tapped into profit. It's like some of y'all wasn't raised by the same ancestors who told us that all money wasn't good money. What happened to that? What happened to all money ain't good money? Social media is coming so fast. You may see 15 videos in a matter of 30 minutes. Viral moments are rage baiting, black trauma, people turning on their camera in blackface, white women turning on their camera that are married or dating black women to rage bait, that are married or dating black men to rage bait black women. You got the man sitting in the Oval Office putting the ex-president and his wife's face on monkeys because he also, no matter how ignorant or slow, understands that black trauma pays. So now we have to go back to the original question. Is this influence or is it participation? Because the main people that participate in this type of behavior on social media are the main people telling you that they're about community. They're the main people telling you that they are pro-black. They are the main people telling you what you need to be a part of the community. They're the main people giving you the gauge on blackness. But they report to engagement. They report to an agency. We are exploiting black trauma at a high level on social media, and the people that are the most vulnerable across the diaspora in our communities are at risk. These are people with mental health disorders. These are people with substance abuse disorders. These are people with other addictions, sex addictions. The most vulnerable people in our community are at risk by their own people, creating trauma, exploiting trauma, exposing trauma. The same things that happen historically are happening on social media. People gaining access to people, to learn about them, to get information on them. This exposed culture created drama, created lies. Engagement doesn't give a damn about truth. Engagement doesn't give a damn about truth. And we are so quick to stitch and duet and jump on a trend that we're not even thinking because we're so indoctrinated, we're so conditioned, we're so programmed, we're not even thinking the impact on the people that look like us. We're not even thinking about it. We're not thinking about it to the point that people are taking their lives on social media. Engagement doesn't give a damn about people taking their lives. Engagement doesn't give a damn about generational trauma within our community. You know why? Because it's not engagement's responsibility. Whatever you think, I don't care. We have a responsibility to ourselves, to our families, and to the legacy and the struggle of our ancestors to carry it forward, to carry the culture forward. But if we don't believe in ourselves enough to where we can believe that we can win in all of our blackness, in our authentic, natural selves, there's no way we can evolve. We're too busy putting on masks. We're putting on masks that we street smart. We're putting on masks that we are, smarter than the next person because we have 2, 3 degrees. You have 2 or 3 college degrees, but you don't know the harmful impact that you're causing online with the most vulnerable people in your own community. These are masks that we wear because of proximity to whiteness, because of proximity to status, proximity to so-called power. And we have completely forgotten the coding of our DNA. to know that power comes from within. There's nothing outside of us that can give us power. It's within us to awaken. It's within us to awaken. The only time we start grabbing for outside validation is when we have no self worth, no self value, and collectively, we are lacking in both to the point to where engagement will kill somebody online and engagement will kill people in the privacy of their own home. And people will use their deaths for content. People will use their deaths. People will use their falls. They may not have died, but they may have fell off, crashed out. And people will use that for content. People that look just like them will step right over them and continue to chase engagement. At some point in time, there has to be self accountability. These are not outsiders. Newsflash, white people don't have to beat us anymore. They don't have to. All they have to do is create narratives and create systems to keep us beating each other down, verbally, emotionally, and mentally. And we have to be smarter than that. Even those of us that have 2 to 3 degrees, you have to be smarter than that. You'll argue from sun up to sundown that you a damn Democrat. But in that same argument, you'll attack the brother that doesn't have a degree. In that same argument, you will criminalize and attack the brother that's been to prison, knowing damn well we've been over policed, knowing damn well that we have the highest exoneration rate, knowing damn well that we've had several brothers sitting in prison for something they didn't damn do. But you'll dress down in that blue Democratic color and call yourself pro-Black. This is the type of nonsense that creates a system that gives every opportunity for Black people to betray each other. And that's why when you build a platform for self-empowerment, that's why when you build something that moves towards Black unity, it is easy to grab one of us that is unhealed, doesn't believe in themselves, low self-value, to do something that will impact generations to come. The main FBI agent that infiltrated the Black Panther Party pretended to be their friends for months. The night that the police kicked in the door of the main Black Panther Party leaders while they were sleeping and murdered them, that man went on to grow old and have grandchildren. And it took him years to be able to admit to his son what he had done. He didn't want to take it to his grave. So that let me know he still had somewhat of a soul. This is far beyond name calling about Sambos and sellouts. This is about the psychology behind generational trauma and what it looks like when we are presented with opportunities that would impact an entire generation. When we say that all skin folk ain't kinfolk, we mean just that. History proves it. Historical patterns prove it. Prove it. And at the end of the day, everybody can't go. Everybody cannot go. Everybody that looks like you is not aligned with you. Everybody that comes from the same community and neighborhood that you grew up in doesn't give a damn about the growth and the evolution of that same community. And we have to be aware of that. When Harriet Tubman said, I saved hundreds of slaves and brought them to freedom, And I could have saved hundreds of more of them, but I couldn't because they didn't know they were slaves. That still exists right now today. That reality exists right now today. It's too many of us that don't even believe, are not aware of the invisible chains that we wear around our necks, around our ankles, and around our wrist. And unfortunately, many of those chains are not only locked by people that look like us, but they were put on by people that look like us. When I say that self value and self worth is everything, it is everything. A couple of men made a decision to help infiltrate a powerful movement that could have had a positive impact on generations to come. Generations are your decisions. Your decision to exploit the most vulnerable people in our communities. Some of these people are parents. What are you doing to their children? Some of these people are children just getting started in life. What have you done to their future? What have you cut off from the purpose that they were supposed to have? And again, that's where we go from one-dimensional thinking to multi-dimensional thinking. Everything is not right here on the spot right now. Everything is about history. Everything is about present, and everything is about future. Your decisions impact all three. For a group of people, for individuals, your mindset, what you do action wise, verbally, what you say impacts everybody, energetically impacts everybody. So I'm going to say it with my whole chest. Hell no, everybody can't go. Some people are going to get left behind. They have to get left behind in order to carry it forward, in order to carry the culture forward, in order to carry the legacy forward of our ancestors. Everybody can't go. I wish them well. I wish them healing. But I'd be damned if I let a handful of people that don't believe in themselves and let alone believe in us collectively hold the entire collective back from pushing forward and carrying the culture forward, carrying the legacy forward. I heard somebody say the other day that we're being used by the system. And I can't wholeheartedly, honestly say that anymore. Because are we being used or are we participating? Are we participating or being used? The question for me, that's not a question. We are participating to uphold this system. And the cost of that participation is detrimental. Broken movements, small or large, broken movements everywhere. We will get online and share. We will show up to clap for. We will donate millions for politics, for chaos and drama and trauma. Exploit Black trauma online. Spend money for it. Exploit it. Donate to it. But when somebody says, I have something positive, over here, I have something positive for the community. The same people that are online exploiting Black trauma will come online and call out that movement and say, that movement is nothing. That movement is boring. That movement is not getting engagement, as if that's a flex. Y'all don't hear me. As if that's a flex. You we have people out here in the community that think it's a flex that they are getting engagement, not for any talent that they have, not for the intellect that they have, not for the discernment or the intuition that they have, not for the legacy that they're pushing for. They are out here jumping on clout for themselves, for exploiting their own people, for beating down their own people mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, upholding each other. A complete detriment to the entire community and across the diaspora. Jumping on clout for engagement on Black exploitation, and have the nerve to speak on other people's movements, but in the same breath will tell you that they're pro-Black. Come on now. That's these so-called celebrities. That's these so-called sports figures that are supposed to be our children's heroes. That's these so-called self-made social media creators. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. And the cost of this pattern, if we don't bring awareness and if we don't fix it, is not only repeating cycles, but continuous broken movements, continuous divisiveness, loss of life, loss of spiritual grounding for the most vulnerable in the community. And definitely no unity, definitely no liberation. We will continue on and we will pass forward the invisible chains of oppression that white folks no longer have to apply pressure to, because they have created such a system that we apply pressure to ourselves. We apply chains to ourselves. We speak on each other in generalizations. We hold each other to white folk standards. They have done their jobs. The question is, are we going to continue to do it for them? Are we going to continue it, or are we going to remove our energy altogether? Is the question. I've never been the type to bring up a challenge and not talk about what the solution is. Never. I've always wanted to be involved in finding solutions for challenges, especially challenges that are harmful to people that look like me. But at the end of the day, we have to make different decisions. This is not about division. This is about clarity, awareness. We have to get to a point where we're choosing accountability over comfort, awareness over ignorance, collective growth and evolution over individual gain. That's what we have to get to. We have to get to a point where we are hyper focused on who and what we promote, who and what we uplift, and who and what we pass forward. It's all about passing it forward. And Gen X should be leading the charge on this. We should be leading the charge on this. And you would be surprised to know that it's Gen X, many of them, that are the most toxic in leadership roles, the most toxic in the entertainment industry, the most toxic on social media. We are supposed to be the ones leading this charge. This is our torch to carry forward, and we are dropping the ball. The path forward is choosing us. Us. Because when we choose us, every single individual within the community wins. When we choose us, when we choose to pass forward the legacy, everybody, every family wins. When we think about the collective, everybody wins. If you lived in a community with 24 other people and you won some contest where you won $50 million, do you think that you would be happier living in that community, being the only person with $50 million? Or do you think that you would have a sense of purpose and be happier and creating something to pass forward if you made everybody in the community millionaires, the other 24 people millionaires, and then take the remaining 26, $25 million and invest to build something not just for you and your family to carry on as a legacy, but something that will help and move as in service and purpose to the diaspora. Too many of us reach a pinnacle of success and forget that we were once that little kid that had to step over needles to get to school. We forget some of the violence that we had to see in our households because of unhealed trauma. We forget some of the violence that we had to see in the street. We forget the assaults that we had to know about and endure ourselves individually. It's easy to forget where the hell you came from when you're not grounded, when you're not moving in purpose. That's the solution. It needs to be intentional of where our energy goes, where our mindset goes, what we promote, what we uplift. Stop jumping on these trends, beating each other down mentally, emotionally, and physically on social media. If you have the opportunity to reach a pinnacle of success that where you're in the eye of fame, you need to watch what contracts you're signing. And don't sign contracts that have a direct harmful impact to your own people, to your own community, that feeds exploitation, that feeds generalizations of your own people. That's the answer. That's how we solve the problem. Every single community feeds off of Black people's energy, period. And we have a choice on where that energy is spent. And right now we're in a significant time and place in history with what is going on among the borders of the United States and all over the world. And it's time for us to be strategic on how we move. And that starts with what we are promoting and where our energy goes. And I'm going to end it with my final thought. My final thought. There is no system in this world that is harmful, that sustains itself. No system as large as this one that sustains itself. It's not possible. It sustains itself because it requires participation. It requires participation. And the only way that we regain our power collectively as a people is when we decide, the very moment that we decide collectively as a people to stop participating. Stop participating. Just stop. Just stop. Again, my name is Angie Pryor. This has been episode 4 of Pain to Power, Paid to Betray. You guys check us out on the website. Again, I have created and put together so many resources and ebooks, so many resources. If you decide to join the village, check out our website. It'll be at the end of this video, but go and visit our website, explore our website, start one ebook at a time. What I have done with the website as I have chosen, as far as the store, the village library, and the ebooks, I have chosen topics that have created divisiveness within the community across the diaspora. Guys, these ebooks are powerful. People that have already purchased it, I'm getting great feedback on it, and I'm telling you that you need to dive into these ebooks. I purposely made sure that every one of them you can read in less than 2 hours, because I understand with social media being prominent in everyone's lives that our attention span has been shot. And so every read is extremely short but powerful, under 2 hours. Go through, start one by one. I would love for you guys to join us in the village. The village is going to be the group of Pain to Power members that decide to sign up, and I will be going live in the village. We will be talking about some of these topics a little more personally, getting into a little more detail that we don't want to talk about on social media, because the revolution was never going to be televised. The real revolution was never going to be televised. And I made sure that I created a virtual safe space that is not on social media for us to get together and have these conversations. Also, in the village, there are courses, things that you can go through yourself to get you to critically think about your self value, your self worth. Any journey that you're on, if you're plugged into Pain to Power, you're going to get some support on it. You can catch the podcast on YouTube and Spotify, but plug into this platform. This is not just a podcast. This is a family. This is a group of people that are on a healing journey, that are on a truth journey, that are on a culture journey. Plug into Pain to Power and let's get right. Fix your damn crowns.